Welcome to Kingdom Explained, where we talk about everything that is Kingdom. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified for more content on this channel. On this video, I will be doing an overview on the character known as Ouki, a great general of Quinn. The character is based off a real person named Wang Yi. Here will be information that could spoil the manga and the anime, so you have been warned. Here are some facts on the history of Wang Yi. Wang Yi is in fact not a very well-known general in history. There are hardly any entries recorded in history about him. But here are some of the facts. In 247 BC, the third year of King Zhongzhang's reign, General Wang Yi attacked Shangdang of Han. King Zhongzhang passed away and King Zhang ascended the throne. In 244 BC, the third year of King Zhang's reign, Wang Yi passed away. Like I said, not too much is recorded on this character or the known person that we know as Ouki. Now let's get into the character from Kingdom. Ouki, a branch member of the O family, was a great general and one of the 6 great generals of Quinn. He served as a close retainer to King Shou and was widely known under the alias Monstrous Bird of Quinn. Ouki was a massive, muscular man. He had long, dark hair, a 3-pronged goatee, and remarkably large red lips. He had tribal tattoos covering his right arm, multiple piercings in his left ear, and numerous scars stemming from a lifetime on the battlefield. During the battles, Ouki wore a blue set of armor distinguished by his massive shoulder guards, along with a crimson cape and his weapon of choice, a massive, decorated glaive. Now Ouki went into military service at the age of 13. Throughout his entire career, he lost tens of thousands of comrades while sending hundreds of thousands of enemies to their graves. During the times he trained at home for his military career, Kyoi, a girl raised as the daughter of a servant of his household, participated in his practices. One time she asks if Ouki will conquer a lot of cities when he becomes a great general. He confirms, to which Kyoi says she will become a great general as well, and when she has conquered 100 cities, she will become his wife, which he then approves, creating the promise between them both. At some point when he was in command of his own unit, he took Kyoi, who was then still in her early teens, as one of his retainers. During this time, his unit would come in contact with Shobunkin's unit, and they ended up touring battlefields together up until and maybe after the conquest of Bayo. By the time of the Battle of Nannan, Ouki had risen far enough in the ranks to be pushed into command of the battle after then Commander-in-Chief General Ki Riku had died in battle. When he informed Shobunkin of his promotion, he assigned Shobunkin as Kyoi's support, as she had a tendency to ignore finer details on the battlefield. While Ouki couldn't be at her side all the time anymore, as a sign of trust, he also informs him about the ruthless culture in the royal harem and how a palace girl favored by the king gave birth. This girl handed her child over to a peddler to smuggle her child outside the royal palace. He then calls the child by name, Kyoi, shocking Shobunkin. He continues by saying that that child was taken in by their household because Kyoi's mother's father was a war buddy of Ouki's father. To avoid suspicion, Kyoi was adopted by one of their servants. Shobunkin then asks if the king or Kyoi knew about this, and Ouki responds with no. Ouki goes on to successfully conquer the Nannan region, a region that Quinn had trouble conquering for quite some time. For this achievement, King Shou himself comes to the front line to congratulate him. The king proceeds to asking for Kyoi, who contributed a lot to the Quinn victory, to step forward. This caused Ouki to show expression in the senses of, so the time has finally come. King Sho realizes Kyo is his daughter and congratulates her and the rest of the troops for their victory. He walks away while requesting a private talk with Ouki later. While Kyo continues to walk her own path to the great general and the conquest of 100 cities, Ouki makes sure to keep tabs on her progress. So when Kyo has set up camp around the city of Bayo, Ouki comes to visit her. While treating a wound on Kyo's arm, Ouki answers her question of why he is here. He says that the next battle will be a cooperation with him as vice and her as the head general. While he walks out of the tent, he mentions there is only one left, confirming that he remembers their promise. However, before capturing the final castle, their camp is attacked by Hoken, and Kyo is slain by said Hoken. Enraged, Ouki attacks Hoken, landing a presumed mortal wound. Now let's get into the personality of Ouki. Ouki emitted a heavy pressure and his presence could easily intimidate the weak-willed. Despite that, he actually was an easygoing and very talkative person, with a very heightened sense of humor, as seen when he joked about being Shobunkin's lover. He often joked around with his lieutenant Toy. He also liked to provoke his company, going as far as making jokes about his sexual preferences to others. He was also known to have taken his relationship with Kyo, along with his promise to marry, with her seriously, as he made a man from another unit die a horrible death when the latter was caught flirting with her. During battles, he took on a much more serious persona, without missing the chance to sneak in a joke from time to time. Even in the direct situations, he maintained a calm demeanor, carefully analyzing the battlefield and acting accordingly. He also had a pattern of laughter where he laughs, chuckled as Now let's get into the physical abilities of Ouki. His immense strength, one of the top tier characters to have made an early appearance in Kingdom. In terms of physical strength, Ouki possessed a monstrous strength. His physical strength was so great that he could slice apart grown men like Giko and Shomo, along with his horse in half with his signature finishing slash. He is also a glaive master. Ouki had a great proficiency with a glaive. With his unbreakable glaive and combat skills, he destroyed an entire infantry and cavalry battalions with each swing, and brought the Bushin, Hoken, to near death twice despite his own powerful martial might while dueling him. As the living symbol of Quin's military, Ouki was a charismatic leader who could raise the morale of his soldiers with his presence alone. In the critical moments, he was also shown boosting the morale with simple acts like riding across the line of soldiers or making a short speech. When leading offensive charges, he would draw out a great deal of strength from his men to the point where they were described as the army of Asura, demon of gods. After he received a mortal wound, his army would go berserk in order to return his body safely, and they were said to be at its most fearsome at that moment. His tactical abilities, in combination with his physical abilities, Ouki had splendid strategical and tactical abilities as well. By his own admission, he does not dislike long-distance warfare and was shown effectively manipulating the battlefield without leaving his HQ. His intuition and broadened vision were best shown when he deduced the possibility of the presence of a second hidden Zhao army during the Battle of Bayo. With no information about a second army being in the vicinity, Ouki was still able to do solely based on Choso's use of tactics. Ouki was renowned for his insight and battle prowess, using unexpected strategies. He specialized in making his opponents move in a way to create an opening that either he or one of his most trusted subordinates could lead a decisive thrust. This was demonstrated in the tactical battle with General Fuki of Intellect, when he sent his left army into charging the Zhao's right army to bait half of his army into surrounding them. He then ordered the newly established and named Haishin unit to sneak into his headquarters through the opening and slay the general. His defensive formations were compared to a wall of iron, and only experts in breaking through army defenses such as Rinko, the flying spear of Rinpa, could penetrate them using advanced tactics like Rendo. Because of that, his experience in defensive warfare was one of the main reasons he was appointed as Commander-in-Chief during the Battle of Bayo. That is all for the overview. Comment your thoughts below on the video and make sure to support the channel by hitting the like button and the bell so you can be notified for future videos.